to pause on something that you said. There's two things in there. One is it breaks my heart how many times on tour or at Palooza that we tell somebody, "Hey, you're amazing. You are enough. You're designed for greatness and a purpose," and it's the first time they've ever heard it.
Yeah.
It's literally heartbreaking, and that's a great place to start with everybody watching, whether it's live or on a replay watching this video. Is that Debbie was sitting in Vegas in 2018 and heard those words and started tearing up, shedding tears because she knew she was about to change. And I know for so many of you that might not have heard that or haven't heard that in a long time, really let that echo through your brain. Let it get into your soul that you are designed for greatness and a purpose. You have this opportunity to live the life you want to live. That's what we encourage everybody to dream big and follow their dreams. And then there's two other things you said in there. One is, which is real interesting because we're going to come full circle to that. You said in that moment, you heard me say something about change your legacy, leaving a legacy of who you want to be. And at that moment, in 2018, you weren't happy with where your legacy was going, or you wouldn't have been at Palooza most likely. So you wanted to change your legacy, change your outcome of where your life was going so that it would impact other people. And the other thing you said that is so valuable, because I have to do this every single day, is do stuff you don't like to do to be able to do stuff you love to do in your life and find that why. So how did you, many times, I guarantee you, many times after Palooza, you had days where you woke up and you didn't want to do that workout or didn't want to get on a budget. How did you continue to force yourself to continue to do the things you don't want to do, the little things, so that you could achieve the big things? Losing 120 pounds is a big thing. And paying off $70,000 of debt is a big thing. And we're going to talk about how you feel now versus how you felt then on a day-to-day basis waking up. But how did you push yourself through those moments, the things you didn't want to do? How did you push yourself through those?
So it's like I did a few different things. It's like sometimes it's like if there's something that I don't like to do, the later in the day that for myself I do that thing, the more excuses I come up with to not do that thing, or something like working out, for instance. It's like I found out like if it's something I didn't like to do, which was like go to the gym at the time because I was terrified to go into a gym, and then Adina helped me break through that and I started going. But it's like exercise is something that's really easy to put off, I think. And it's like once you have, and I have kids, so you have kids and life starts happening. I just found that if I do it the first thing in the morning before I could come up with any excuses and just like get it out of the way, it just felt so good to get it out of the way that I didn't have to worry about it the rest of the day. That really kept me on track. And then one thing that extremely helped me, and when I was at Oola Palooza in 2018, when I went, Marie was there with the Oola planner. And I was like totally anti-planner person. I hated it so much, but I had made a promise to one of my girlfriends from high school that year I would get a planner and we could go through it, and she wanted to do stickers and all kinds of things. And I was like, oh, but I bought her and myself the Oola planner when I was there. And I went to Marie's class and I sat there like, all right, I'm never going to do this. I already know. And Marie started teaching us how to do it. And now it's like, I'm totally 100% sold on this planner and reaching goals, because the why is up there and I look at it every day. In the top of my days, it's like I'll write down what I need to do. I carve out time for when I'm going to work out, or I carve out time for when I'm going to sell something, because my number one goal that year was to pay off debt. I knew if I paid off debt that everything in my life would change. So like, if here's my planner like for this year.
Mine too.
So up on top, how you have the pages, and like then it's your why. And it's like, okay, I have to do this. So every morning it's like you see that and it's like, okay, I am going to do this, that it sucks because of this. And just visually seeing that every day, I think gave me a lot of energy or dedication to like keep moving forward. And I also broke it down to where like I wouldn't say, oh my gosh, I need to lose 120 pounds. That's like very overwhelming. And I lost 1 pound 120 times. And that's what I would break it down to, is that I'm going to lose 1 pound. Or, okay, so I have a $78,000 worth of debt. That's like, seems like something that's unachievable. But I paid off $1, $178 1,000 times, if that makes any sense, where I didn't put so much pressure on myself to this big, huge thing. I would break it down day by day. And as I broke that down day by day, I would schedule it in my day because it's like that's something that you were teaching us to schedule time for the things you need to do that will reach you to your goal. So I would schedule those times in that Oola planner. And when I schedule them, I would look, that's why I'm going to get up and that's why I'm going to do it.
There's so much value in that. It's like I just it's just unbelievable how much value is in there. We talk about Anula worst first, do the worst things first in the morning, get them out of the way, reward yourself by doing the worst things first. And what worst first means is do the stuff you don't want to do so you don't procrastinate on. Just get them out of the way, first hour, get it out of the way before you start doing the stuff you want to do. Don't scroll on social media. Don't do anything else until you get the worst out of the way, the worst first. And then
Yeah.
just breaking it up into those daily action steps, those daily mini goals of like not losing 120 pounds, but losing a pound 120 times, or paying off a dollar 178,000 times. The empowering, the mental power, the empowerment you get from knowing that even if you take $5, you're paying off a dollar 178 or 78,000 times. Even to take $5, go, wow, I just 5x'd what I was expected to do. I was going to pay off a dollar, and I paid off five today or 100 today.
Mhm.
You start to get the momentum and those wins. I feel like so many people in Oola that we've been working with over the years, that you're watching this right now, you feel like you've been beat up a little bit. Like, I have to lose 40 pounds. It's so big. But if you lose a pound at a time for 40 times, you start to take those small bites, and that really makes everything that much more attainable. So
Yeah.
amazing, like amazing advice. And you're like, yeah, I knew at Oola Plus, if I paid off that debt, my life would change. You're paying off debt, losing 120 pounds. You have life change going on all over the place. So when you come full circle to, let's just come like to 2019 and to 2020, where is your life, like your mindset? What's all happened since you lost 120 pounds and then you paid off, the $78,000 in debt? Like, what's that feel like? Like, what does the Debbie sitting in this chair feel like versus a Debbie sitting at Palooza in 2018 and little over 2 years? What is the biggest change that you're feeling?
So the Debbie sitting at Palooza 2018 was terrified, um, but I was very inspired because I saw a way out. And I realized what was wrong. It's like Steve's dragging me to these Dave Ramsey classes, and I'm like sitting there not even listening to it. It's like I was going through the steps, but then when I worked through the Palooza in 2018, it's like I realized right then, okay, I do need to pay off of this debt. I do need to do my budget. The funny thing about that, I'll add real quick, is that the day I flew home from Palooza was our graduation day for Dave Ramsey. And to that point, everyone in that class was well aware I left my credit cards in the car. I wasn't into it whatsoever. I was the one sitting there just getting through it. And the day I flew home from Palooza, Steve picked me up at the airport and we went straight to Dave Ramsey graduation. And everyone's eating, and I just like said, Steve, I'm gonna go cut up my credit card. And he's like, what? He's like, which one? And I showed him which one. He's like, that's your favorite credit card. I said, I know. So I tried to sneak up there to the front of the class, and he has a big jar up there, and giant scissors for everyone usually like goes and cuts them up at the beginning of class, but I wasn't there yet. So I sneak up there and I like cut my credit card in half, and Steve was taking a picture of me. I didn't think anyone was noticing, and everybody turns around and give me a standing ovation right there. It's like, yes, she did it. But I did that because I realized the why. But so back to what you asked me, sorry about that little tangent.
No, that was an amazing story, and I think what you showed there is what we talk about too, is the courage to live differently.
Yeah.
Like, just the fact that you had a favorite credit card is hilarious. Like, now
Like,
looking back, right?
I've
Like,
never.
think about how funny that is now.
Yeah, stay away from my credit card. I like left it in the car. I'm like, you're not bringing my purse and my credit cards in there, Steve.
That's so funny. It's like having a favorite pet or a child. You had your favorite credit card.
Oh yeah, it was everything. It was like I could have anything I wanted with that credit card, but I didn't realize what I was doing was taking away from my dream. But so I went up on stage and I was terrified. I made my declaration. I said, what's holding me back is my debt, $78,000. I'm going to pay it off this year. And I made a promise to myself and everyone there that I was going to do that. That gave me inspiration. I also like in 2009. In 2019 was a huge year for me because of going to Palooza in 2018, the end of it, and the goals I set. I set a goal to lose over 100 pounds, and to get to 24% body fat, which I was like at 52% body fat. And I ended up losing down to 24% body fat in 2019. So that was like a lot. And I lost over 120 pounds. We paid off all of our debt in 2019 also. And I was able to have enough money left over and saved that we started construction of a new house, which we're living in now. Also, one of my goals that year was to get a passport and travel with my family. That was like my why. And in 2000, well, yeah, that same year, 2019, I saw you at Iconic. And I was like, really like struggling with, like, I was like bird's eye focused on that money, paying that money off. And so I was struggling because we had a cruise coming up for our family and it was going to cost money, a lot of money, but we had planned it and it was like that was our family cruise. And then I also like had the opportunity to go to Europe and do like 6 weeks in Europe. So I came to you and Troy and I was like, what do I do? Do I like not do all of these other things that would like balance my life? And or do I just like take all of that money and just like forget about those things and pay out down on debt, because I would have got my debt paid off a lot faster. And I remember you guys gave me the goal. You told me to give myself grace, go do the things. I'm working towards my goal still. And I'm so glad that I did that, because those trips were everything. And especially going into 2020, we can't travel or anything now. It's like, who knows when and if I could have ever done that again. The trip to Europe, I brought my mother-in-law, who's one of my best friends, and she's getting up there in age, you know, she's 78, and she was able to troops all through Europe with me. And that probably never would have happened in her lifetime if I hadn't have seen you and, you know, reassessed and decided, you know, I am paying off my debt. At that time, it was April, and I'd already paid off $40,000 because I'd been selling everything. I just sold it all. It's like if it wasn't glued down in my house and it had value, I sold it. And I just like went through that phase and it felt so good. It felt so relieving. And to be honest, if we wouldn't have done that in 2019 and I wouldn't have like gone to Palooza, 2020 comes and COVID, and Steve got docked 20% of his salary, just because that way they can keep people employed at least. And if I hadn't have paid off all of that debt in 2019, we would have sank. We couldn't, because we were in the red every month as it was. When I paid off that debt in 2019, we were like close to $2,000 a month in the hole. So by doing that and paying all of that off, when COVID hit and Steve got like docked his salary, we were fine. We could pay all of our bills because we didn't have all those bills anymore. So that was like a huge thing too. So where I'm at today, it's like we're really good. You know, I had an injury in 2020, so I kind of took 2020 and just worked on like getting myself healed. We like settled into our new house. It's 2020 for us is like pretty much a big blessing. I loved 2020, and it's like I'm really, my heart like goes out to everyone who really struggled that year. But for me, it was a season of just like settling in, spending that time with my kids. My son's going to college now. He does it online from home. But my daughter, she's like a junior in high school. So I know that pretty soon I'm not going to have him here. And we just took every minute that we could to like just bond and be together as a family and settle in the new house. And now this next year, I have huge goals. The biggest goals I've ever set, I have set for 2021. So
When you set goals of losing 120 pounds and becoming debt free, those are pretty big goals. So I'm excited to hear what your 2021 goals are. But I want to just pause on something that's so important. Your 2020, you said, was a blessing. And your 2020 is a blessing because you started planning for 2020 in 2018 without even knowing it. You know, if you came into 2020, 120 pounds extra weight on you, not $78,000 in debt, but interest rolling it up to $90,000 in debt, and everything happened that happened in 2020, you'd be living in a much different reality right now than the reality you're living in. And
Yeah,
it's
we
because you and
have.
Steve took action, which is just incredible. And you live in San Diego, and I know it's pretty shut down in a lot of those areas and stuff, but you guys were able to pull through.
Yeah.
So I'm so impressed with you, and there's so much that we've learned out of just talking to you for the 20 minutes we've been on. I do want to. I know. I want to know where we don't have to go into the goals of 2021. You can text me those. Tell me those. I want to go into the ripple effect of where, because you took this action in 2018, and you worked with Adina, and then you through Adina found Oola, and then through Oola you found this new reality of being healthy and being debt free. What has that done for your family? What has it done for your son, your daughter, your mother-in-law? By the way, that trip, you need to do that trip to Europe. That was amazing. You don't need to just sacrifice everything to get
Yeah.
through. And I remember that conversation. I'll tell you why we both said independently go on that trip is because you were making the effort. It's not like you're like, well, my favorite credit card says I can go to France. It
Yeah.
was because you were making the effort and you were so focused. It's like, take a breath and enjoy life and create memories and then go back to it is so valuable. So I'm so glad you did that. But where's the is there a ripple effect of forming with like your family, your kids?
Yeah, there's 100% ripple effect. And this is something that if I get, I might get emotional over this because it means so much to me. Um, like I said, I didn't have a lot of support and stuff when I was young growing up. So everything that I remember, every pain, everything that I felt, I promised myself when I'm a mom, I'm going to make sure that this does not happen to my kids. And so the things that have changed is like when I started working out and when I started eating better, my son had been sick all of his life. And I didn't really know about nutrition or anything like that. It's a long story, but he was very sick from the time he was like 1 year old for allergies and asthma and millions of things that medication was breaking down his body, is what was happening. So when I was working with Adina and I started learning about nutrition and eating whole foods and foods can heal you. Um, I started like teaching that to my kids and to my son, and we made a conscious decision, my son and I, to take him off processed food, to let him start eating better. Adina told me he can't be allergic to everything. They were telling me he was allergic to everything. She's like, he can't be allergic to everything. So we just broke it down, and he was able to get off 100% of his medications. And at one time in his life, he was on like 18 medications as a little kid at once. It was terrible, and it was breaking his body down. So just that in itself, like I feel like saved him, that lesson of like nutrition and me by myself getting myself right and eating right and working out. My family started all going to the gym and working out with me and eating better. Um, also, my kids about finance. We talk to our kids about finance. We talk to our kids about getting in debt because we went through the same thing you did right about the same time when the market crashed and everything. And we were extended, like we had stuff, we had a lot of stuff, but we had a lot of debt and we didn't know any better. And so we extended ourselves too thin. So teaching our children about myself learning about finance and building a budget and not getting in debt and paying cash for things. Now those lessons are like going down a whole nother generation with my children. Like my son, for instance, he is in his freshman year. He's in the last semester of his freshman year of college at San Diego State. And he worked hard and he got scholarships and he got student or not, grants. And the first semester, he actually got a check back from the university. He paid zero. He got a check back from the university for what, $2,100. And then like last week, all of his grants and all of his scholarships went through again, and he just got another $2,300. So they're paying him to go to school. So not only is he doing it debt free, he got smart enough and thinking, okay, I'm going to go one more than that, and I'm going to make some money. So now he's 18 years old, and he's investing his money. He's taking that money that he got back from school while he's going to school, and he's putting it into like investments and planning for his future and saving it. My daughter, she does the same thing. She, she's still in high school, so she doesn't have like a job, or well, she does kind of have a job. Does acting and singing on the side, but she's like learned. She's learned to set goals. Both of my kids have, but my daughter in particular, she's in an accountability group with me and Adina actually at the same time, and she's learning to set goals and that she can like go for those goals. Like she has her Oola one, and she has a path of how she's going to get herself there. And it's like learning that at such a young age for my kids means everything to me, because I didn't have that. And to think what I have in my life at this point, not having that, and then what they can accomplish by having it is just, it's overwhelming. It's just like such a blessing.
You make me emotional. You really do, because you're just such an example of you doing it for yourself, but also doing it for others and doing it for your family and your kids. Their lives are different. That
100%.
they're living differently. They're living differently than the 18, 19, 20-year olds who are, maybe unhealthy, but also definitely going into debt for school and all those things. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for your courage and your strength to get your butt to the gym, to eat healthy, to change your life, to live differently than what society was telling you to do or what you learned to do at a younger age with your money, your finances, your family, your everything. All